Hello friends, welcome to kodEdge. In this lecture, we are going to take closer look at variables and different ways that can be used in the Terraform. So let's get started. So let's understand what the variables are. Variables are a way of setting values that we can use multiple times. So this is a basic syntax of defining variable. You have to use the keyword variable, then the name of the variable, then inside the curly braces, it has an optional default argument. Then let's say we have defined AWS EC2 instance resource block and we want to use this variable for AMI argument. Then value can be accessed like this using object name var and the variable name. So variable block contain multiple arguments. First we already saw that is default, in which we specify the default value for a variable. Let's understand other arguments as well, that is type and description. In the description, you can specify the description for a variable, for example, purpose of the variable. Type argument specifies what value types are accepted for the variable. The type argument in a variable block allow you to restrict the type of value that will be accepted as the value for a variable. So there are multiple types of constraint available in the Terraform. Supported type keywords are string, number, boolean. They are also called as primitive types. And then these are the complex types. A complex type is a type that group multiple value into single value, which are further divided as a collection type and structural types. Collection types are for grouping of similar values. So these are the collection types, that is list, set, and map. List is a sequence of values. Map contains key value pair, and set is a collection of unique values. These are structural types, which are for grouping potential dissimilar values. For example, object and tuples are the structural types. So what is object? So object is a collection of name attributes that each have their own type. So what is tuple? So tuple is a sequence of elements where each element has its own type. So don't worry, we are going to see this in a detail in the hands-on in a minute. So apart from these three optional arguments, variable block have few more arguments. So first is a validation. Using this, you can specify custom validation rule for that particular variable. So in this example, it is checking the length of AMI ID that should be greater than 4. Next argument is sensitive. So when you run the plan or apply command, Terraform will show value of the variable in the console or in the output. So setting a variable as a sensitive, it prevents Terraform from showing its value in the plan or apply output. But Terraform will still record sensitive value in the state. And so anyone who can access the state data will have access to that sensitive value in the clear text format. Then last one is nullable. So this specify if the variable can be null. The default value for the nullable is true. Now let's move in the hands-on, in which we will see variable types constraint in the action. So let me create a new folder. That will be lecture 3. And in this folder, we will create our configurations. The first file I am going to create, that will be variable.tf. And in this file, we will create our variables. And let me create one more file, that will be main.tf file. And in that file, we will create our resources. So it is always better to have different file for variables. So first variable we will create of the type string. So how to create variable? So let's use keyword variable like this. The name of the variable. So I'm giving name as a file name underscore str. So this variable will be of the type string. That's why I'm giving name as a str. So in this demonstration, I'm going to create resource of the type local file. For that purpose, I'm creating this variable. So in the variable, you can use the argument default to assign the value to this variable. So here I am assigning file name, that will be file slash ytdemo -str.txt. So this will be file name for the file resource. And let's assign the type. So type will be string. And let's use this variable in the resource. So how to create resource? You can use keyword resource. Then resource, we are going to create a local file. Then resource name. So here I'm giving name as a file example. Then name of the file name. So here we will use variable. So how to use this variable? So you can use object var dot file name like this. And let's assign some dummy content for the file. Okay. So we have used our first variable in the resource, and this is how you can assign the variable in the argument. Now let's apply this configuration. So let me open the terminal. Let's cd into lecture 3 folder. And first step will be to initialize the provider. So here we are using provider local. For that purpose, we will have to initialize this provider. So command will be terraform init. Okay, so you can see it has initialized the local provider. Now let's run the command terraform apply. Now you can see it is going to create a local file resource, and this is our file name that is coming from the variable. So let me change this file name to txt, and let me reapply this configuration. Let's enter yes. Okay, so file is created. So in the files folder, you can see the file is created. Now let's create other types of variable as well. So next variable I am creating of the type number. So this is the example for creating a number type of variable. So this is a type equal to number. Then this is a default value for this number type of variable. Now let's use this variable in the resource. So let me copy paste this resource block here. And this time I am going to assign this variable in the content section. So let me hardcode the file name now here. So let me change it to NUM, and here we will assign the number type variable. So how to use the variable? Var object dot variable name, that will be file content number. Okay, so this is how you can use the number type of variable. Now let's create a next variable of the type boolean. So this is how you can create variable of the type boolean. So type will be bool, and this will be the value for the variable. So here I am giving value as a true. Now let's use this variable in the resource. So let me change these names. And how to use the variable? Var dot variable name like this. Now next we will create variable of the type list. So this is an example for creating variable of type list. So here you can see type is list. In the bracket I have mentioned the string. What is the meaning of this? So this list is going to contain all the elements of the type string, and this is the default value. So here I am providing the list of elements in the string format. And if you see, this index of this list start with 0th index. Okay, so let's use this list in the resource section. So how to use that variable? So it will be in the same format, var dot your variable name. So this will be for file content list. Now from this, I want to use this second element. So how to do that? So here you can write square bracket like this, and here you can mention the index of that element. So that will be 1. So list is start with 0th index. Okay, so this first element is at 0th index, then second element is at first index. Okay, that's why I'm mentioning 1 here. Now let's create a next variable of the type set. So this is the example of set variable. So type will be set, and it will contain all the elements of the type string. And these are the elements for the set. And how to use this set in the resource. So this part I'm going to skip in this demonstration, because to use the set you will have to iterate using for each loop. Okay, so I will demonstrate that in the upcoming lecture. So next variable we will create of the type map. So this is the example for creating variable of the type map. So here you can see type is map, which will contain all the elements of the type string, and this is how you can specify the key value pair in the map. So this is a key, and this will be the value in the string format like this. Okay, So let's use this map in the resource section. So let me copy paste this resource block. And how to use that variables in the resource block? So same way, you need to specify where dot your variable name. So that will be file content map. Now from this map, I want to use this element. So how to do that? So here in the square bracket, you need to specify the key name like this. So it will return the value of this key from the map. Now let's get a next variable of the type tuple. So this is an example of creating a tuple. So here type will be tuple, and in the tuple I am specifying string, number string, and in the same order I am specifying the elements in the default argument. Okay, so this will be the first string, then this is a number, and this is a third string. Now let's use this tuple in the resource block. So format will be where dot your variable name, that will be of the type tuple, and let's say I want to fetch number from this tuple. Okay, so format will be square bracket and the index position. So tuples also start with 0th index. So this is at 0th index, this is at first index, this is at second index. So this will return 1254 from this tuple. Now let's create a next variable of the type object. So this is example for creating object type. So what I'm doing here, type will be object, and this object is going to contain two elements, that will be AMI and AZ. So AMI type will be string and AZ type will be list, which will contain all the elements of the type string. And this is how you can assign the elements in the object. So here I am assigning AMI, which has value of the type string. Then next is AZ, which is list containing string elements. Now let's use this object in the resource. So let's say I want to use this element from this object in the resource. So how to do that? So here you can specify the var dot your variable name, that will be file content object, and from this object I want to use AZ. So AZ is list. So from this list I want to use second element. So index will be 1. So it will give you this value from this object. Okay, so we have used all the types of variables. Now let's apply this configuration. So let me open the terminal. Now let's format this configuration first. So for that purpose, you can run Terraform fmt command. Now you can see all the configurations are formatted. Now let's run command Terraform apply. Let me enter yes. Okay, you can see it has created 6 resources. Now let's see the files. So here you can see all the files are created. Next, we will try different variable arguments. So let me create a new variable for that. So variable name I'm giving as a file name. And let's use the all the arguments that we have saw in the slides. So first argument will be default, that will be file name. The next argument will be type. So here I am giving type as a string. The next argument is description. So that will be description about the variable. So you can provide any description as per your requirement. The next argument will be validation. So here we need to specify the condition and the error message for that variable. So let's use the keyword condition like this. And here we will provide the condition like our file name should be greater than 5 character. So how to do that? You can use function length like this. And in the length function, you need to specify the variable name. So that will be var dot file name like this. And our length should be greater than 5. And next keyword, you can use error message like this. And here you need to specify the message for your condition. So here I am specifying message as file name must be greater than 5. Now to fail this condition, I am purposely making this as 50. We will rectify this later. Okay. The next argument is sensitive, and currently I am making it as a false. I will show its effect when we run the Terraform apply command. And the last argument is nullable, and I am making it as a false. So let's use this variable in the resource. For that purpose, I am creating a resource. So resource will be of the type local file, and let me give it a name, file example. Then here we will assign that variable. So var dot file name like this. Let's assign some dummy content in the file. Okay. Now let's apply this configuration. The command will be Terraform apply. Now here you can see it is giving error message as an invalid value for variable. And this is a custom message that we have provided. That will be file name must be greater than 50. Okay. So this is the message it is showing in the console. So let's rectify our condition. So I am making it as a 5 now. And let's reapply this command. Okay. So our condition is satisfying now. Now one more thing, if you see here in the description section, you can see file name is file/ytdemo.txt. Now I want to hide this information from this output. So how to do that? You can make this sensitive variable as a true. Now let me abort this operation and let's reapply the Terraform apply command. Okay. Now if you see here, file name is sensitive value. So it will not show that value in the output. So let's apply this configuration and it has created a new file. Okay. But one more thing, though we have added sensitive equal to true, it has hidden that value from the console output, but it will still show that value in the terraform.tf state file. So let me open that file. So this is the terraform.tf state file. And here if you see, so this is our file name variable and it is showing that value in the clear text format. Now let's understand different ways in which we can make use of variables in Terraform. First way is using input variable values. This we already saw using object where you can use the defined variables. The next is the interactive mode. So if you do not define any arguments in the variable block, then when you run Terraform apply command, it will prompt you to enter value for the variable. So for example, we have defined local file resource like this. Then in the variable block, we have not defined any default argument. So when you run the Terraform apply command, it will prompt you to enter value for the variable. Next is using command line. For command line option, you can make use of var option when running Terraform plan or Terraform apply command with variable name equal to value like this. Next option is using variable definition file. When there are a lot of variables, it is more convenient to specify their value in different file. For that, you can make use of variable definition file with file ending in either .tfvar or .tfvars.json as shown in the diagram. In that file, you need to specify variable name and values. Then you need to specify the file name in the command line using var file option when running Terraform apply command. So Terraform automatically loads a number of variable definition file if they are using naming convention like this. So file name exactly like this, like terraform.tfvars or terraform.tfvars.json or any file with name ending like .auto.tfvars or .auto.tfvars.json. These files are going to load automatically. And the last is using environment variable. So taking our same example here, if you want to provide these variables as in the form of environment variables, you can make use of tf_var followed by the name of declared variable like this. In this example, tf_var_file name set the value of variable called file name to the value ytdemo.txt like this. And when you run Terraform apply command, this value will get assigned and used in the configuration. Now let's understand the variable definition precedence. So if we use multiple ways to assign values for the same variable, then Terraform loads variable in the following order. So let's say you have defined variable using environment variable. And if you also define same variable in the terraform.tf var file, then Terraform will give precedence to terraform.tf var file. Same way, if you define the variable in the terraform.tf var.json file, in that case, it will give the precedence to this file. Next, if you define the variable in the .auto.tf var file, in that case, Terraform will give precedence to this variable. And last one, if you use -var or -var-file option, in that case, Terraform will give precedence to this option. So that's it for the lecture. We have understood the basic concepts about variable in the Terraform. Thanks for watching the video.